So friends, today I have brought another great Indonesian supernatural horror movie where a very scary ritual is done in a village with birds, which will make your soul tremble by seeing and listening to it. The name of this movie is BERNYANYI, that is SINGSOT, or you can also say SINGSOT in English. The movie is very interesting. You will enjoy watching it, and at the end, I will also explain its details to you. And recently, I have explained a movie from Universal Pictures whose name is Hello Road. They have given very good theories. It will be fun to watch you in 10 minutes at the end. You will find its link in the pinned comment below. Go and check it out quickly. So let's go straight to the video without any delay. So the movie starts from a village called Kirtorang, where a man is sprinkling some water in a large, dense field. That man then hears a different voice, and he tries to find that voice. Now he was looking for a bird's voice here and there. Then he sees a white-colored bird that he catches, and he is very happy with it, as if he has found a treasure. Now he goes back home and tells his wife about it, that he found that bird, and his wife is very happy to hear it. And she says she should come home soon, and by then her wife will prepare the cage. That man goes home and hears another bird's voice, and now an invisible force pulls him into the dense fields in the dark, with which this scene shifts here. Now we see three children chasing a cut kite, and the names of these children are Ipung, Lis, and Didit. Now they came to the same dense field where Ipung and Didit go in to take the kite, but their friend Lis stops them. He should not go here at this time, and this place is not right. But what happens is that Ipung and Didit wanted that kite immediately, so they insist that they will go into the fields. But Lis stops them by saying that a few days ago a man heard strange noises passing around it, and since Mr. Pete has met here, this field has become dangerous. Now he says that his parents tell him to come home at night, because if anyone roams in the village in the evening, bad things happen to him. And Didit agrees to this and takes a step back. At least someone was smart here. Now Lis tells Ipung to go back, or his grandparents will be worried, and if he wants a kite, he can keep Lis's kite, and he agrees to it. Now all three of them come back to their homes, but we notice a weird thing that there were cages hanging outside everyone's house. There are cages inside the house, and some were full and some were empty. And everyone had at least one bird, and everyone took good care of these birds. They kept them very carefully and took care of them very lovingly. And in the beginning, we saw the bird thing, that how happy that man was to catch that bird. Now Ipung leaves his friends at home and goes ahead and sees an old man named Darmu bathing his bird Petruk. He talks to Darmu that who will win in the coming competition. Petruk always wins. So Darmu says that this time Petruk may not win, and today he will do meditation and get enlightenment, with which it will be clear what will happen tomorrow. After a little talk, Ipung goes home and we see Darmu who was bathing Petruk, but by then it ends. Now Ipung is shown who had come home, and he lived with his grandparents, whose parents were no longer in this world. He talks to his grandpa Mirkun that Darmu said that this time Petruk will not win, on which Mirkun is happy and says that if this is the case, then this time his birds, i.e. Arjuna, has a chance to win. Now like everyone else, they also have a lot of cages, and there are some birds that they are feeding and cleaning. And this was a strange tradition in this village. Now they make Ipung practice, in which they have to whistle in the sound of the bird, and with this they can control their bird. Anyway, now we finally see Mr. Pita, who was lying in a very bad condition at his house. And Mr. Pita is no one else. In the initial scene, the person we saw was the same person who had been dragged into the fields, and these kids were also talking about it. Anyway, now his wife Vivek gives him a potion in which the blood of the bird was mixed, and he is very worried about Pita because he is neither moving nor speaking. Neither does he sleep, nor is he fully awake. He just opens his eyes and lies like a living corpse. Means he is in his senses, but he is not in his senses. Or you can say that he went into a kind of coma. Anyway, in the meantime, we see Dharma, who was at his house, and he was going to do some ritual with his dead bird and some stuff. But then there is a knock on his door, and no sound comes from outside. He asks again and again who is outside, but still no one was coming. And now when he opens the door and sees, He does not see anyone outside. Anyway, now when he closes the door and comes inside, there is a slight noise from inside, and all the cages of all the birds start moving slowly. Anyway, now they also hear a sound like a bird, and they come to their storeroom, where they had empty cages, and a ghost catches them here, with whom we can see Mr. Peta, who was able to see and feel all these things. His condition suddenly seems to be getting worse. It seemed that he was somehow connected to all these events. Anyway, then we see Ipung's grandparents, where she says to her grandma and grandpa that Ipung is still a child, and he should not make her obsessed with birds from now on, and he has started whistling, which is not right. And at one time, a lot of people from the village are disappearing day by day, which is not happening right now. But seeing the condition of Peta, he is afraid that all this will happen again. That is, whatever was happening here with Peta, or what happened here now, all those things have happened before, and somehow these people had stopped it. But all this has started happening again. Now Mirkund explains to Ipung that he should not whistle after evening, because it can be dangerous. Upon which Ipung says that the condition of Mr. Peta, that's why he is saying this. So he says that he just listens to him, and then he will be taken to the competition. Upon which he agrees. And here Grandpa also gives him a bird toy of his childhood. Blocking it used to make the sound of a bird. Anyway, now they leave for patrolling. And here the rule of the village is that all the men do patrolling at night. And at the same time he finds out about Dharma, who a man had gone to call for patrolling, but he met him in this condition. The next day, the death of Dharma is announced in the village, and we can see Peta, who is fed by his wife Vivek. But now he suddenly starts suffering. His breath was getting stuck, and the condition was getting worse, which Vivek handles. Now the scene comes towards the night, where Ipung is shown, who was sleeping in his house. That's when he wakes up from someone's voice, and he comes out to check. Now he sees Mirkund, who was freeing all the birds, and was behaving strangely. He tells Ipung to go to Grandma, and he goes to them. So she gives him some clothes to keep in the closet. And when he turns with the clothes, she was gone. A hand under the bed holds Ipung's leg, which scares him a lot. And when he looks under the bed, he finds a scared grandma there, which tells him that she is real. And outside she is a ghost. Ipung is also hiding under the bed, who was scared to see the ghost in the form of grandma, but now the hidden ground is side. She comes in her real ghost form and haunts him, because she was the real ghost. And with this, Ipung suddenly wakes up, because all this was his bad dream, because whatever was happening, he was thinking somewhere inside, because of which he is getting such nightmares. Anyway, now we can see all the villagers at Dharmu's house, who were busy preparing for the funeral. That's why the two ladies are talking to each other, that Dharmu had a protection charm, so he can't die like this. So this is not a natural death at all. I mean, there's something paranormal going on here. Who was killing people? And almost everyone has a protection charm to avoid it. Anyway, now they talk about Peta, that his condition is also very bad, and he got a bird. Maybe that's why all this happened to him. Now Vivek had also come here, from which a lady talks, that all this is because of that bird, on which she says no. It's not like that. Peta had a stroke, and Vivek is also going to do a ceremony for him. Now here we can also see Ipung, whose toy bird had fallen down, which Vivek gives him back. In the next scene, Ipung was in the burial ground, where everyone throws him in the burial grave, and here he sees his own body. Everyone starts cursing him, and he was very upset, with which he suddenly wakes up. Now someone starts knocking on the door of his room, so he goes and asks Grandma, why is she knocking on the door? On which she says that she did not knock on the door. Even she has not gone there since morning. After hearing this, he gets very upset, that if Grandma did not do all this, then who did this? And he tells Grandma about his nightmares. So she says it's good that all this is happening in his dream. Otherwise, all this can also happen in reality, and he should stop whistling. And now Ipung was hearing the sound of birds again and again. Like the sound of his wings and the sound of whistling, it starts to be heard again and again. Then we see Vivek, who catches a bird from his house and starts biting it, and says that his husband should be returned to him. After a while, we see him burning that bird with some ritual stuff outside the house. Anyway, the next day, everyone in the village is shown on the competition ground. And here Merkun talks to a man named Manto, where Manto says that Darmuk died because of Petruk's death, because he had put his protection in Petruk. And maybe that's why he always won. And he thinks that Pitek also has some connection with all these things, on which Merkun says that when people used to disappear, then the other side would have reached the opposite world of meaning. But Pitek is with them, didn't disappear. So how can all this happen? On which Manto says that he is thinking that how was this happening? Anyway, now Ipung's grandmother is shown at home, who hears some sound, and she came to the well while following that sound, where he is shocked by the ghost Ipung. And by then Merkun and the real Ipung had come home, who take care of them, but they didn't see the ghost. Now the grandmother is very upset that the same thing was happening with Ipung, and the same thing is happening with the grandmother. She gets into thinking that what is happening to her family, and Merkun will have to do something seriously, because these things were not right. Anyway, Merkun goes out of the house to meet the village shaman, who is none other than Manto. They meet him, and in the meantime, the grandmother also takes out a box from the closet, which had an egg inside it, which she brings and pours into the river and requests him to go. And now no one should bother us. We also see a black shadow standing a little far in the river, means the grandmother has taken an offering or protection, so that no one dies in their house. Now in the meantime, we see Merkun near Manto, and Manto touches a bird case and performs a ritual. And the other side means that it connects in the opposite world of this world, that is, maybe in the soul world. Anyway, he starts looking for Pipe and asks if he is there and what is happening in the village he is doing. And then he gets evil Pipe, which haunts him first. And then he comes in his real form and says that he has to change places. He is stuck here, and to get him out of here, someone has to keep his place here. And he had gone to take the same religion, but he was already dead, and he doesn't want to do that, but he has no other way. Now Manto comes to his senses in the real world, and he tells Merkun all this, and he says that Peter has opened the portal again. And if he doesn't switch his place by keeping someone there in 40 days, then he will vanish from this world. Now in the meantime, we can see Vivek, who calls a man for help. And he says that now Vivek has 6 more days, and now he has to give that potion to someone else. And he needs warm blood, means hot blood. Who has to give him the potion? This is a sign that his husband Pite will give him. It's a good thing if he understands it, because if this time passes, his husband will vanish from this world, which means whatever was done was wrong. Anyway, the next day we see Ipung, who was in school, and he is showing his friends his grandfather's toy. It is said that this is a rare item, whose whistle can turn birds into cobras or dolphins. And in the meantime, Ipung's mouth suddenly starts bleeding, and he runs to the washroom. But he finds himself in Pite's house, who started haunting him. Obviously, he will be evil Pite. And in the meantime, we can see that Ipung's eyes open in the middle of the class. Anyway, he takes care of himself somehow, but Pite's evil self was haunting him everywhere now. Anyway, now we can see Merkun, who asks his wife what happened to the golden egg. So she says that he threw it in the river, and now grandma is sick. So he says that there are some rules of that egg. Grandfather had kept it here, so he could have taken it out, and the rules were not followed. So grandma is sick. Then we see Ipung coming home, who gets a car, which had some people inside, and he was going to his house. He starts going with them. So now they all suddenly turn into ghosts, and they haunt him, from whom he escapes and runs away and comes home. But that's why he forgot his bird toy on the way. Anyway, now we can see Vivek, who hears Pite's voice, and he gets that bird toy, means it's a sign that he will have to make Ipung his target. And that's why all this was happening with Ipung from the start. Anyway, she immediately goes to Ipung's house, gives him a potion on the pretext, and now Ipung goes to the other side. Basically, his spirit had reached there. Anyway, when Ipung's grandfather Merkun finds out about this, so they go to Pite's house and fight, and then go to the jungle with Manto and do a ritual. Manto sends them to the other side, and also gives a bird relic for protection. That means there was a lot of significance of birds in this movie. Now Mirkun finds his grandson Ipung, and they start to save him from here. But they are surrounded by ghosts. Obviously, he was in the ghost realm. Mirkun saves Ipung and sends him out of here, and Manto brings Ipung with him to the real world. But Mirkun was stuck in this world now. In the next scene, we can see Pete, and Vivek was very happy to see him. Now you must be thinking that this is very wrong with Mirkun. He sacrificed himself to save his grandson, and Pite did a lot of wrong things. But shockingly, one day Pite was cleaning the bird cage, in which he finds Vivek's severed head, and he runs away in fear. And Manto smiles at him. That means he did the wrong ritual. That means the opposite ritual was done on him. And then we see Mirkun, who had come to the real world. But how did this happen? So the simple thing is that he had switched places with Vivek. And you know that if such a place is switched, a ritual is done. So 60 days are with a person to come back to the real world, to come inside his body. So here it was done with Vivek, because he did the wrong thing here. He did wrong with his grandson. And boom! With this, the film ends here. So friends, this was the story of the SINGSOT film. So see what happened in this story. This story is about birds, ghosts, and folklore. So it is said that after nightfall, the whistle calls the ghost. And this movie takes the same narrative. Now there's a story in some folklore or Bengali folklore that the life of humans is in the birds. You must have seen a lot of movies. In fact, the Aladdin movie, or I think the Hathi movie, came. So it happens that a man's soul is in the bird. And if you kill the bird here, that man will also die. Basically, it was the story of Dajjal. Or I believe that the serial used to come on Star Plus. Dajjal and Hatim had the same story, that Dajjal's life was probably in a parrot or a bird. But I mean, you got the point, right? So here the same narrative has been set. The exact same thing has been shown in this movie. So what people did in this village was to save themselves from all these ghosts. He had put his soul in the bird. Yes. Then Vivek's bird was dead. His head was in it. So his soul was dead and went into another world. And because of this, Manto had done the ritual, because of which it happened that Mirkun came back to his body. Now what happened in the end? So the simple thing is that Petey couldn't come back by offering someone's blood. But Mirkun killed Vivek and he came back. And what is the other side of the last? So it's actually a ghost realm where souls live. And the obvious thing is that they can sense when someone is alive, his soul will go to that world while being alive, so they can consume it. Basically, they want to come into our human body in our world, so that they can enjoy the pleasures of this earth. This narrative has been told quite well in the movie. And as we have seen from the beginning of the movie, no entity here but ghosts. And whatever happened with Petey in the starting wrong. So maybe the ritual went wrong, or he must have done this to win, because of which his soul went to another world. And now it was his wife's job to bring him back, but she couldn't understand any hint. But ultimately in the end, Petey's soul gave him a hint. Whose soul does he want? The simple thing is that the soul was needed in place of the soul. Only then could a person live here. So think of it as a simple thing that there must have been a ritual of a demon here, because of which everyone was worried, and anyone could easily kill them. But what did they do? They did a ritual of their own soul and locked it in the cage of these birds, because of which their human body could not be killed easily. Until that bird is not killed, their body will not be finished. And if you still don't understand what happened here, there used to be a competition here between the birds. Now the birds can't win like this normally. So they used a forbidden ritual. Basically, the thing that put their soul in the bird was forbidden. So here Petey tried to do this so that he could win like Dharma. They both tried to do this, but the deal failed. The ritual went wrong here. And because of this, Vivek had to kill someone else to bring his husband back, or send someone else's soul there, which Mirkun did to save his grandson. Now it is possible that whoever wins this competition, he might get some benefit, some money, etc., or maybe he gets some blessing. And the meaning of golden egg was that it was also a special blessing, because of which Ipung was saved here. Otherwise, he would have been killed long ago. Basically, he had some guardian spirits who were protecting him because of the golden egg. So a lot of significance of birds has been shown in this movie. I hope now you have understood this film and concept, that what was going on in the village, what was this fuzz about? If you still have any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, like the video. If you're new on the channel, subscribe. Recently, I have explained a very good horror film on the Ghost series channel, which is from Universal Pictures. It is also on Prime Video, one of the best. Its name is Hello Road, a road that is sharp where everything is very scary. Link is in the description. Go and check out the pinned comment. It will be fun to watch. The last 10 minutes are quite good, so I will meet you all in the next video. Until then, stay ghostly.